Welcome to the deep dive. Here we pull apart compelling sources, aiming to give you the clearest, most profound insights we possibly can. Today we're doing something a little different. We're exploring the power of narrative itself. We're deep diving into this source called the desk drawer portal. It's a story, yeah, but one that, well, beautifully and whimsically maps the architecture of curiosity, how it can turn the tedious into something tremendous. So we've got an outline built from this really amazing source material, and our mission basically is to analyze its fantastical structure, this unexpected, instantaneous adventure, to really understand the central lesson it's trying to impart, which is how curiosity fundamentally transforms, say, the drudgery of schoolwork into a genuine, applicable adventure.
Yeah, it's a really excellent piece of instructional fiction, you could call it. What strikes you immediately is how the structure positions curiosity right at the start. It's the required action, not just, a hoped-for outcome. The story doesn't wait around for boredom. It demands this kind of impulsive commitment to discovery from the get-go.
Right. And that initial setting is so critical, isn't it? The source kicks off on an ordinary Monday in Mrs. Willow's classroom. That phrase alone, ordinary Monday, just sets the stage perfectly for maximum contrast. It's the baseline, routine, expectation.
Exactly. You need that dull canvas, so to speak, because that routine makes Jamie's decision to open his desk drawer, this totally mundane container, probably full of, forgotten pencils and stuff, so powerful. But instead of the expected clutter, the source tells us he sees this deep, inviting glow of stars.
Stars, yeah. I mean, that's a staggering visual metaphor right there.
Yeah.
Taking the most ordinary bit of classroom furniture and making it a doorway to the cosmos. And Jamie doesn't hesitate, does he? He doesn't pause to weigh risks or check the instructions. The narrative really emphasizes immediate physical commitment. He leans closer and then, whoosh, he tumbles straight through.
And that whoosh moment, I think that's the story's first critical instruction, really, to the reader. It's as meaningful learning needs movement. It needs action. It's not passive. You've got to lean in. You have to go all the way through the portal.
And the classmates follow. That's key, too. The whole collective action reinforces this idea that maybe true intellectual pursuit is sort of contagious.
Right.
They don't debate. They just scramble, look inside, and leap in, too. The whole class basically agrees to the adventure together. So when they land, they find themselves in the land of learning. Can you describe that setting a bit? Because this is where abstract concepts start to take on, well, weight and reality.
Right. It's a world designed to make the fundamentals of curriculum tangible, something you can interact with, something conquerable. So you have numbers floating like bright balloons that makes calculation seem light, movable, maybe even fun. And letters are dancing in these rainbow lines, showing the fluidity and the beauty maybe inherent in language structure. So the environment immediately tells you these subjects aren't just rigid rules on a page. They're tools, structures you can actually engage with physically.
And guiding them through this world is this ultimate mentor figure. They meet the friendly chalkboard dragon, why a dragon, and why the detail about its tail being dusted in white chalk powder.
Well, a dragon usually suggests something ancient, powerful, wise, right. But the chalk dust, that grounds it. It brings it right back to the practical tools of education, the classroom. It's a fantastic synthesis, really, of power and pedagogy. This dragon isn't just some mythical beast. It's like the physical manifestation of applied knowledge. Maybe even the Socratic method, ready to guide them through challenges, dust and all.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It perfectly sets the stage for the rules of this land of learning. So let's unpack those specific challenges now. This is where the story shifts from just setup to a more structured kind of lesson plan. How does this world make sure the kids are actually applying their knowledge, not just, admiring the floating numbers?
Well, this section really reveals the core instructional design principle of the whole story. Knowledge application has to yield immediate, undeniable progress. There's no waiting for the end-of-term report card here.
Okay, take the first challenge. It uses simple math for, physical navigation. The source says math problems hop like frogs across lily pads. And the specific problem they need to solve to cross a river is 3 + 4 = go pour.
Exactly. And it's not about the complexity of the math itself.
Yeah.
That's simple enough. The key is the immediate consequence of getting the answer. If they solve it correctly, 3 + 4 is 7, the source says new stepping stones appear. Instantly. If you connect this to real-world learning, it's the power of immediate feedback loops. Solving the problem provides the means to move forward.
Right.
It turns abstract computation into practical, tangible progress. It's actually a really effective gamification strategy when you think about it.
So it reframes simple addition. It's not just a task you have to do for the teacher. It becomes a required skill for, well, survival and progress in this world.
Precisely. The challenge isn't really the number 7 itself, but the obstacle, the river that the number 7 helps you overcome. You can see how this structure would appeal strongly to, say, kinetic or active learners.
Yeah.
They aren't just writing 7. They're literally stepping on 7 to get across.
Okay. And then they move from that sort of quantitative logic and movement into the nuances of communication. They reach the word forest. Here, the trees whisper spelling words to them. What unique instructional mechanisms do we see here, especially around the consequences?
Okay, the word forest mechanisms are all about retention and consequence, but in a very specific way.
Hmm.
If they spell the words correctly, which is an act of accurate linguistic application, they get golden apples dropped right into their hands.
The reward.
Yeah, that's extrinsic reward done right, I think. It's valuable, visible evidence of success, a tangible prize.
But the corrective action. This is the part I found brilliant and really memorable. If they get the words wrong, the trees tickle them until they try again.
Right. It completely sidesteps the usual shame or fear associated with getting something wrong in school.
To-
The Dickle trees provide this creative, humorous, but also persistent form of, let's call it constructive correction. It demands iteration, trying again, not giving up. It basically says failure is just uncomfortable for a second, try again, rather than failure means you stop, you're bad at this.
It's fascinating, really. Instead of the negative hit of a bad grade or a teacher's frown, the consequence is physical, yeah, maybe a bit distracting, but ultimately harmless and funny. It forces the kids to re-engage and fix the error immediately. You know, I almost wish standardized testing used tickle trees.
That would certainly raise the stakes. And maybe the giggle level.
Definitely change the atmosphere.
But structurally, you see, it reinforces the story's main theme. The land of learning is fundamentally a supportive place. Errors aren't judgments, they're just prompts for more practice.
Okay. So they navigate the numerical challenges, they master the linguistic hurdles through spelling and tickling, and this applied learning leads them somewhere specific, their ultimate destination.
That's right, they finally arrive at the knowledge castle. And this castle, it's the culmination of the whole process. The source says it's literally built from books that stack themselves into towers.
Wow. So it's not a castle filled with gold treasure, but a monument to organization and accumulated knowledge.
Exactly. It visually represents that synthesized knowledge, the ability to connect the math steps and the spelling rules and everything else, build something vast, complex, and lasting. The goal isn't just solving one little problem, it's building a systematic understanding. The castle is the system. It's the whole structure built from all those discrete parts they overcame earlier.
Okay, so if we connect this whole journey back to the bigger picture, the entire world they move through, the rivers, the forests, the stepping stones, it feels like a powerful statement that knowledge only really gains value when you apply it,
Yes.
when it helps you overcome obstacles.
Yes.
The curriculum isn't just the content you learn. The curriculum is the mechanism for successful navigation through challenges.
Absolutely. This entire structure is built around that core idea. The journey is the lesson plan. And the guide, our chalkboard dragon, brings it all home with one final key instruction. An instruction that ties the mundane classroom desk right back to this extraordinary adventure they just had.
Right, he steps forward, doesn't he? And he kind of synthesizes the whole experience, not just for the children in the story, but you feel directly for the reader, too.
He does. The dragon's final bow in his instruction is the explicit takeaway message. Every drawer can be a portal if you fill it with curiosity. It confirms the magic wasn't, in the wood of the desk drawer itself. The magic was Jamie's initial impulse, his commitment to looking closer. The tool of the desk is secondary to the mindset.
And this directly validates the children's experience, right? The narrative then explicitly states what the children, and therefore you, the reader or listener, are meant to learn from this. That learning can be an adventure. If you approach it with curiosity and creativity, it transforms schoolwork from just tasks into potentially exciting journeys.
And then we get the proof. The physical, tangible proof of their adventure when they return. They just pop back into Mrs. Willow's classroom, safe in their chairs. But the evidence that the journey was real, it's immediate, and it's kind of dual-layered.
They have chalk dust on their noses.
A souvenir from their time with the dragon mentor.
And golden apples in their pockets. The physical reward for getting those spelling words right in the forest.
And this is the crucial link for the listener, I think. The story mandates that applied learning yields tangible, memorable results. The abstract experience, the learning, produced physical evidence, the proof. The dust represents the journey, maybe the effort. The apples represent the reward, the success.
And Jamie, the one who kicked the whole thing off, he gets the final word. His ultimate conclusion perfectly reflects how his perspective on his classroom has shifted. Best desk ever.
Yeah.
The source has done its job, really. It defines every lesson as a potential doorway. Open it with curiosity, and learning becomes an adventure.
And that framework, that structure, is why this simple little story works so well as a guide for deeper thinking. It uses these really effective fantastical images, the stars, the dragon, the constructive tickle trees, but it uses them to convey a fundamental truth. Curiosity isn't just a passive interest. It's the essential tool you use actively to turn abstract information into a rewarding, memorable adventure, one that yields actual results.
Yeah, it's about viewing complexity not as some locked door you can't open, but maybe as a series of stepping stones across a river, where each stone appears only when you correctly apply what you know.
Which brings us to an important question, maybe for you, the learner, listening to this deep dive right now. The children in this story returned with chalk dust and golden apples, tangible evidence of their journey. So when you successfully navigate a difficult source, when you complete a real-world deep dive fueled by your own curiosity, what do you carry forward as evidence? What's your chalk dust? What's your golden apple? Is it maybe a key connection you finally made? A breakthrough note you jotted down? Or perhaps it's a new question that fundamentally changes how you approach things next time.
That's the challenge, isn't it? The real prize for the learner isn't just the memory of the journey, however fun it was. It's the structural element, the new way of thinking, that new stepping stone, maybe, that you can apply immediately to the next task. So as you approach your next complex source or learning task, ask yourself this. What small, seemingly ordinary component, like a desk drawer, might be your portal? Waiting to be opened with that initial, impulsive, potentially world-changing curiosity. Go find your stars and see what apples you bring back.